Welcome to today's 3 Minutes of Halacha. Today I want to address the question of how should a person be dressed when they daven. The basic guideline is offered in the Gemara in Shabbos on Daf Tet and Aleph, where it says that a person has to be dressed in a respectful manner that conforms to the societal norms. However, in previous generation, those societal norms were a jacket and a hat, as recorded by the Aruch HaShulchan, the Mishnah Berurah, and also the Chayyim. In fact, if we just look back at pictures of baseball games in the United States from the 20s, the 30s, and the 40s, we'll see the spectators, the men, were dressed with jackets and hats. And obviously, when we go to daven, that's the very least of what we should be wearing. However, things have changed, and they began to change in certain countries even earlier than the 20th century. Shamshon Raphael Hirsch, for example, in Germany, was asked Reb David Tzvi Hoffman to remove his hat when he entered his home for the very first time, because in Germany it was considered to be improper to be inside with a hat on. Other changes have occurred as well, where people are much more informal, and therefore the mode of dress needs to be respectful and needs to take into recognition that we're standing before the Melech Malchei HaMelachim. But even so, we need to recognize that the way we would dress if we had an appearance at the White House or before the Queen of England is often much nicer than we would dress even on a Shabbos within our own shuls. The idea of respect needs to be present, the idea of modesty needs to be present, and the idea of appropriateness within society itself. There are other reasons, of course, of how we would dress and why we may wear a hat. According to Kabbalah, a hat is part of a double covering of a head, which represents both the Yira Ilah and the Yira Tata, the upper and the lower sense of awe before God. And also, when it comes to a person who is going to be dressing only in one way in public, so for example, people who always wear a jacket and tie, to not come to shul with a jacket and tie, to not daven before HaKadosh Baruch Hu with a jacket and tie would be considered inappropriate. We need to be respectful. We need to recognize how we normally appear in public and make sure that the way we appear in shul is at least as good, if not better.